It's my tremendous honor to finally wish America and the world a very Merry Christmas.
The president making Christmas calls to all over the world. He started the day video chatting to our men and women overseas.
We're grateful for each of you who spend this Christmas away from your families and defend all of our families.
He took part in a holiday tradition he called NORAD. Some of those children were randomly patched through to President Trump.
Building blocks, that's what I always like too. I predict that Santa will bring you building blocks. So many you won't be able to use them all.
It is looking like a white Christmas in many parts of the nation.
God has offered us another option. That is to say yes to his love and to his mercy. And how did he choose to bring us that mercy and forgiveness? In the form of a little baby.
Merry Christmas.
Johnny Mathis to kick off the 7 a.m. hour. Andy Williams to kick off the 6 a.m. hour. Doesn't get better than those two.
Merry Christmas. It is, of course, Christmas morning. Wonderful to be here with you guys. Griff, Molly, and Todd. We are so excited to be joining you all as everyone's getting up and starting to unwrap the presents, digging in.
It's definitely the most exciting moment of the year to wake up, even as an adult, for those that have children and don't have children. And fortunately, we have viewers. We thank you for the support all year. And that's why this morning we are showing your pictures as you're waking up this Christmas.
All right.
Let's kick it off. The Muller family. You're digging in. You're leaning in. You want to get a close look? Oh, man. See, they've got the matching pajamas. Love that.
Strong.
In upstate New York.
Okay, this is Olivia. A picture of her micro pigs. How awesome is Madeline and Moxie May? Madeline and Moxie May. How awesome is that? They are celebrating their first Christmas.
And here is baby Nathan, his dad Bill, noting he sure loved Christmas Eve.
That's what happens. You love the box.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The kids love the box. And here's Deb and her dog Sig getting ready for the Christmas parade in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. Decked out. That is a good one. Love the dog photos. Love the baby photos. Can't
Send us your pictures. Friends at FoxNews.com.
I remember on Christmas morning, and I did a little thing for Maria Bartiromo the other day for their Christmas stuff, and I remember thinking, what do I love most about Christmas Day? And it was, I used to like booby trap my brother's room with an alarm.
This was your Christmas Day tradition?
So that if he woke up first, I would hear it, and then I would bolt, and I was bigger than him, so I would get downstairs first. What I didn't realize
is you're bigger than him, why do you need
because I needed the wake-up call.
But you're the older brother.
Yeah, my younger brother. My brother's a sleeper. Guaranteed he's sleeping right now. I won every single year. Didn't need the alarm because I would wake up at 6. My brother would wake up at like 11.
It's a good strategy, though.
As the older brother, did you get better or worse presents, or was it pretty even?
I got a lot of sports stuff. My brother got a lot of electronics. So over the course of time, I realized his stuff was way more expensive than mine. I mean, I got like a hockey stick.
Wow, you are really keeping track.
He got better stuff because
he got much better stuff.
So my older brother, Kim, Merry Christmas, Kim, in Memphis. He was telling a story to Lauren Peikoff, our producer here yesterday. He said, yeah, Griff got like a new bike and all these toys, and I got socks.
See?
So.
Hey, socks are good. You need socks.
But maybe Santa was good to him this year. We'll find out. We actually have Santa here. We're going to check in with him.
Yeah. Well, I'm on a big road trip with my family, with my toddler, 16 months old, my husband. We're cruising down. We're going to eventually hit Ohio, West Virginia area. We're going to go to New Jersey. And I remember as a kid, we used to drive to Indiana, where I grew up in West Virginia, but I was born in Indiana. My grandparents were there, and this long, long trek, we would finally get in. It would be dark at night, and it was just so cozy and warm. You know, you can remember just being carried into the house or walking to the house and being so relieved you finally made it to Grandma and Grandpa's house.
It's an awesome feeling. Hey, speaking of Santa, you mentioned Santa before, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that scene in Elf?
Yes.
Where Will Ferrell sees Santa?
Yeah.
Could we just do that right now when we go to Santa right now? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey. Santa!
I know that guy.
I know that guy.
I can't believe you're here this morning.
We have a question
Merry Christmas,
for you,
everybody.
We know it's been a rough night, but we just want a little bit more of your time. Dear Santa, what is the hardest area to fly through? P.S. Still waiting for that motorcycle, says Jay.
Well, you know, I left it in your driveway last week.
What?
Last week. You were there early.
It was there early. Check behind the garage.
And here's a laundry question. How do you get the suit out of your suit?
Great dry cleaners. The best in New York City.
Nice, understood.
The New York City dry cleaners.
Yeah, and just so, Santa, we got a question about all that food you've got to eat. Do you get indigestion after eating all those milk and cookies left out for you? In fact, we put some out, so we're making
Yeah,
you
but
eat
he and Father Jonathan were still snacking
I have a whole plate right over here.
What's your secret? Zantac, Pepto-Bismol? Like, talk to me.
A little Pepto, you know, halfway through the flight, you know, gives me a little bit of comfort.
Right, sure.
You need Pepto to get around the globe. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I have just one last one, Santa, and that is, did it add to your indigestion that President Trump, as you heard, wanted more building blocks than he could ever have? Did you have pressure to deliver making Christmas great again?
Well, I had to make 2 trips. Just to his house.
2 trips. All right, thanks, Santa.
All right, we were just talking cookies. Other food is
Big day for
about
food.
3 feet away from us, so we're going to go run over. But first, we're going to toss it on over to Adam with Chef Mark Bailey, talking about cooking on Christmas morning. And let's go, Griff.
Holy smokes, there's ham.
In our
There's ham, there's ham.
stuff. This is the stuff I really love: the potato soup, the tacos.
Definitely.
This is going to be coming up in a little bit. But
is all the
first,
fun
let's take a
stuff.
quick look at this forecast. As we're talking about snow sweeping across. I know we're hungry. I get it. This potato soup smells so good. Snow sweeping across the country, really piling up here in the Northeast, where we're going to be talking about snow in some areas getting up to a foot widespread, maybe 4 feet if you're right along the lakes. That's why you got watches and warnings stretch all across New England up into eventually Maine is an area where we could see a foot widespread. But there's your snowfall totals when it's all said and done. Guys, 12 inches of snow, staying inside and eating all day long.
Yes.
All right, so I got to ask you a question. Can I use this spoon? Sure. Is that allowed? All right. What are we eating here? Like, just let's talk about the various items that we have here, and then, are we going to do that later?
Yes.
Yeah, you just came over here to eat with me.
And also, Mark, you're going to have to tell us how you cook and prepare for being snowed in with 4 feet.
Yes.
I mean, you're not coming out.
That's not going to be right. That's a lot
Let's
of
start with the eggnog, really.
Chef Mark,
Yes.
unfortunely, we have to go do some news.
Sure.
We will be back.
The food will be right here waiting.
I mean,
Or we'll just take it with us.
so you bring that
save
over,
this
bring the
for later.
skillet.
Got a fork? Grab a fork.
Obviously, we're all celebrating Christmas, but the president is also celebrating Christmas. He was at Christmas Eve Mass last night at the exact same church where the Trumps got married. Griff
That was
knows
the
that church well.
Yes, Bethesda at the Sea.
by the Sea,
where
Palm Beach.
Melania got married. Very, very beautiful church.
Gorgeous setting. They arrived just a tad late, but that's all right. You know, I'm sure that they were saved a seat, and as you can see there, greetings there. As they entered the church, the Reverend James Harlan, excited to see them arrive. He actually asked people there in the church to put their phones away and said, you know, we're here to worship on this Christmas morning.
And Christmas,
Or on this Christmas Eve, I should say, because that's yesterday. Very late in the night.
We got to put up this tweet. The tweet is my favorite, right? This is President Trump has changed Twitter forever.
Right.
And it has been the story of the year, Twitter. And so this was his Christmas Eve message. People are proud to be saying Merry Christmas again. I am proud to have led the charge against the assault of our cherished and beautiful phrase, Merry Christmas, all capital letters and 5 exclamation points.
It's a serious Merry Christmas right there.
That's right.
That's right.
I feel bad. I keep coming back to the food. You know, I tried to expedite a segment over there where I could eat. I'm bringing my parents in here and my wife to make cookies.
It's a big day for food.
But I get all the food stuff. So they actually had dinner last night at Mar-a-Lago.
Big day in yeah.
On the menu, turkey, beef tenderloin, cornbread, creamy kale, popovers, mashed potatoes, and turkey gravy, various local vegetable dishes. You got it
right.
local, farm to table. A seafood display including local fish and shellfish, and a variety of desserts. And turns out it wouldn't have been enough to feed the Carmichael family. Our producer Drew, we saw his 87 family members.
Clearly not. The president should have invited you to Mar-a-Lago for a sampling of that.
I think my favorite thing on that list was popovers. Those are not easy.
Can I ask a question? I mean, is that like a turnover, like an apple turnover? What is a popover?
They're beautiful. They're like fluffy, popped up little things of bread. That's what, yeah.
They're like rolls. And you know who was eating them all morning long?
Delicious.
Santa. I saw Santa eating some popovers. Santa, can you first admit you were eating the popovers? And second, can we just get a Merry Christmas? Because it's
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, thank you, Santa. Merry Christmas to you,
Yeah, I still
too.
have a little bit of room in there. I have a couple of notches on my belt left.
We are delighted to have you here. We do have some headlines, though. The United Nations is cutting $285 million from next year's budget after negotiations with the United States. A goal of the Trump administration has been reducing U.S. contributions to the organization, which total upwards of $3 billion a year. Ambassador Nikki Haley praised the move, calling it a step in the right direction. Guatemala now joining the United States, announcing its plan to move its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. It's the first country to follow President Trump's lead in making that change, and one of 9 to vote against a UN resolution denouncing it. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sending a Christmas message from the capital.
I'm very proud to be the Prime Minister of Israel, a country that says Merry Christmas first to its Christian citizens and to our Christian friends around the world.
Oh, from far away, Christmas wishes. He says Israel protects the rights of everyone to worship in Jerusalem's holy sites. And moments ago, Pope Francis delivering his Christmas address to the world, the pontiff giving his Urbi Orbi blessing, or praying for praying for migrants all over the world with nowhere to go fleeing danger. The Pope had a very similar message during the Christmas Eve sermon last night. He compared refugees to the story of Joseph and Mary. Some rockin' firefighters jam out to their own special rendition of Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock, working around the clock. I gotta say, the video work on this is pretty spectacular too. These guys, they're real firefighters. They're from the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue. The band is called the Fire Brigade. They recorded the song on their day off, hoping to spread a little Christmas cheer. Man, that is a legit video. Looks great.
It rocked. I like the hats. You know, it's kind of like the Cousin Eddie hat.
Yeah, they've got a little snow in there.
We're going to get to that.
Like.
You know we're going
We are, and we're also going to get to Mark Bailey's food.
Yeah,
this smells so good. I should not have brought this over here.
Without
now
a fork,
starving.
especially. Now
I don't
you're
have
just
a fork.
standing there.
I know, and we just had an etiquette segment, so I can't eat it with my fingers, which I won't do. So, but still ahead, how much did you spend on Christmas gifts this year? I spent way too much. Wait until you hear how much the average American spent.
And speaking of cash, Ambassador Nikki Haley promised to pull it from the United Nations if they defied the president. Now she's delivering. Alan Dershowitz is here to react next. But first, a Christmas message from another member of our Fox family. Here's Dana Perino.
Merry Christmas, everyone, watching Fox and Friends from everybody here at the Daily Briefing. I hope you have a great Christmas and that Santa brings you a puppy in your stocking.
UN Ambassador Nikki Haley negotiating a $285 million cut from the United Nations, quote, bloated budget for next year.
In a statement, she says the inefficiency and overspending of the United Nations are well known. We will no longer let the generosity of the American people be taken advantage of or remain unchecked.
All this following the UN's vote to condemn the president's decision recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Here to weigh in, Harvard Law School professor and lifelong Democrat Alan Dershowitz. Thanks so much for being here with us on a Christmas morning. And besides the obvious financial savings, why is this move so important?
Well, first of all, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Alan Dershowitz.
Merry Christmas.
Me being on the show is part of an old family tradition. Everybody in our family used to work on Christmas Day so that our Christian colleagues and friends could be home for their family. So it's a pleasure for me to be working today so that others can be home and enjoying Christmas with their family. Now, as far as what Nikki Haley has done, it's, I think, terrific. It's about time we sent a message to the UN, which has become a place of hate when it comes to the United States and Israel. You know that Abba Eban, who is Israel's representative to the UN, once said that if Algeria introduced a resolution that the earth was flat and that Israel flattened it, it would win by a vote of 120 to 63 with 28 abstentions. And there has to be consequences for this kind of voting. Look, what Donald Trump did, President Trump did, in recognizing Jerusalem was the right thing. What it did is it struck the balance that President Obama had undone when he changed the status quo at the end of his presidency by declaring the Western Wall, the Jewish Quarter, the access roads to Hebrew University and Hadassah Hospital to be illegally occupied territory. That's what changed the status quo. What President Trump did was to restore balance, and everybody should have recognized that. And that vote at the Security Council and the General Assembly should be responded to. And Nikki Haley, who's become a real hero, did exactly the right thing, and it's the first of many steps I think she'll take to bring the United Nations back to where it ought to be, a neutral arbiter of peace, not a place of hatred.
Professor, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, Professor, I was going to say you've written extensively on the topic of Israel in general, but we're just getting word that Guatemala has now joined the United States in a decision to move their embassy to the capital as well. What are your thoughts on that? Will we see more countries getting on board?
Well, I think we'll see a few more countries getting on board. There'll be a lot of pressure not to do it. But Israel has established very good relations with some Central and South American countries, some African countries, India, China. They're not going to vote with Israel right away, but they're seeing a closer relationship. Even some of the Gulf states, the Arab Gulf states, now see Israel as a potential ally against Iran. And again, it was President Obama who created strength in the Iranian regime by handing over so much money. And now we hear reports that maybe even he interfered with the Justice Department investigation of some Hezbollah-related drug dealings. If that's true, it really has to be looked into in great detail. Look, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, America's strongest ally in the Middle East, and the United States and other countries ought to be supportive. The capital of Israel has always been Jerusalem. There can also be a Palestinian capital in East Jerusalem if the Palestinians come to the bargaining table, make the kind of compromises that are essential to assure Israel's security, and want to make a real peace. The day the Palestinians want there to be a Palestinian state more than they don't want there to be a Jewish state in the region, we will see the basis for peace established.
Professor, I want to quickly just get one more subject in with you, and that is Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe reportedly retiring at the beginning of 2018. I chased him down the hallways in between multiple House hearings with the Judiciary Committee and the Intelligence Committee. Clearly, quite a big story. The president actually tweeting about him not favorably yesterday. What are your thoughts on the McCabe situation and the larger question of, are we going to learn whether or not he was biased against the Trump administration?
Well, first of all, everybody tells me who knows McCabe and has worked in the FBI that he's a very decent guy and was an excellent deputy director. Having said that, he should have recused himself immediately from any investigation involving Hillary Clinton because of his wife's connections to Hillary Clinton. When you're investigating a presidential candidate, whether it be Hillary Clinton or President Trump, you have to be Caesar's wife. You have to be above reproach. You have to make sure not only there are no conflicts, but there are no perceived conflicts. Not only is there no bias, but there's no perception of bias. And he didn't pass that test. He gave his enemies, the other side, ammunition to go after him. And I think that's been a big problem with the Mueller investigation. Whether there's actual bias or not, we'll only know in the end. But the perception of bias is there, and it should never be there when you're conducting an investigation of this importance involving people who are so high in government or intend to be so high in government, candidates for President of the United States.
All right. Thank you, Professor. We appreciate you joining us here in this Christmas morning, and thank you for your insights. We appreciate it.
Everybody. Thank you.
Yes, you too.
And Merry Christmas. All right, coming up, getting through the holidays with a message of positivity. Our next guest has an incredible story about overcoming hardship.
And could it be a never-Trumper versus Trump in 2020? Senator Jeff Flake has a big announcement. We'll have more on that when Fox and Friends on a Christmas Morning returns after this.
Welcome back and Merry Christmas. It is your News by the Numbers Christmas edition. First, $967. That's how many dollars the average American is expected to have spent on gifts this year. The National Retail Federation says that is the most since 2007. Next, 837. That's how many surfing Santas took to Cocoa Beach, Florida on Christmas Eve. The Kris Kringles are not just doing it for fun. Proceeds benefit a nonprofit. Look at that wave. Oh, I wish I was on it. Nonprofit that helps cancer patients get to and from treatments. And finally, $100. That is how much a Secret Santa is handing out to strangers in Kansas City. The act of Christmas kindness by the anonymous business owner has been a tradition for 2 decades.
That is awesome. I love seeing the surfing Santas. All right, well, this time of year can be very difficult, but in a new op-ed on foxnews.com, our next guest says that during this hard season for some, keep praying over and over, Emmanuel, I need you. As God uses others to be with you in that dark place, you will experience the true meaning of Christmas. You will not be alone.
Joining us now to share his personal experience with hardship is attorney and writer Joshua Rogers. Joshua, first, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. And before we get to your advice, why don't you give us a little bit of sense as to your background, because it's pretty emotional.
Yeah, you know, when we grew up with my mom, who was a single mom, she was working through a lot. She wasn't getting paid enough, and I can remember Christmas, I think it was 1988, when everything we had was donated from our church. And for my mom, looking back, she tells me it was actually kind of humiliating to her. I had no idea. She was bearing so many burdens. But on Christmas morning, she played it cool. And I think a lot of people out there this morning are feeling that kind of pressure, and nobody knows because they're playing it cool.
You know, and you mentioned you didn't understand that. How can people ensure that their kids have a Merry Christmas without showing, you know, sort of the stress or anxiety that they might personally be experiencing?
I think you really have to reframe things. You know, this morning we all woke up to our power going off. In D.C., a lot of people don't have their power right now. And our kids were scared at first, and they're like, oh my gosh, we get to use candles. And I think that, you know, that for parents, that's what you can do, but it doesn't fix what's going on the inside for you.
And let me just put up here for you, Joshua, an op-ed that you wrote, another quote. We failed our kids if they don't get this present. Let them be distracted. Let them be completely unaware. Give them my gift. My mother gave me the gift that nobody could have donated to us, a childhood. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, we actually had a lot of hard stuff going on when I was growing up. You know, my dad was gone. My mom is raising us on her own. And there were, you know, we could look back on our childhood, and my brother and I were talking about this yesterday, and feel like our childhood was completely broken. But my mom, Paula, I know you're out there, Merry Christmas, she managed to just give us a place where we could be kids. She acted like a kid, and I know she felt like a hurting adult on the inside. But the thing that was holding her together is the thing that can hold anybody together this Christmas, and that's the first gift, and that's Jesus.
And what's so interesting about that is we just did a story right before we went to you about people spending about $900 to $1,000 on Christmas this year. What you just explained, that's free. And at the end of the day, that's the stuff that matters the most. You felt it when you were a child. Now you realize ultimately what it is. And that's the message that you have throughout your writings.
And Joshua, you mentioned giving kids a childhood. I mean, a lot about childhood is about the experience. You know, the bonding with your parents, with your brothers, with your sisters. And, you know, it's not really about the stuff, right?
That's right. And you know, the thing is, so many of us are feeling during the holidays the pressure of like losing something. As adults, we feel this guilt of, why don't I feel excited about Christmas like I did when I was a kid? And I think what we really need is for Jesus to give our childhoods back. You know, he's the one who meets us, Emmanuel, in our circumstances. He's the one who shows up in our brokenness. I mean, his first Christmas was in a feed trough. And I think what he was saying is, look, there is no place too low for me. So not only can your kids have a Merry Christmas, you can have one if you really receive the best Christmas gift any of us could have ever been given.
Joshua, that's a great point, and something that we all need to remember during this Christmas season. First, Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to Paula, who I'm sure is watching this morning. Thanks so much, Joshua.
Thank you.
All right, this is a little bit of a hard turn. Typically, when we do a hard turn, it is something really serious. This is a hard turn because we're going to kind of have some fun here with our gifts.
Yeah.
We're going to make a little bit of a joke about it. And we actually had a little Secret Santa thing going on here. What did we get each other for our Christmas? This is a tease, but you told me to look at it.
I'm looking. This is a gift that says my name on it, and it matches my tie. So my Secret Santa seems to have really gotten it spot on.
But in addition to the gifts, we're also going to reveal our favorite Christmas movies. There's a good one there. Is yours one of them? When we reveal these, coming up next.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
What would Christmas be?
Pom-poms, too. They got pom-poms.
And if you want more Diamond and Silk, 8:15, you're getting it. That's about 45 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. Love them.
We're sticking around for that. All right.
They're going to be fired up for Christmas, as they should.
A show like this does not get put together without so many people. They have families. They are apart from their families many times, not just today, but throughout the year. So we want to give them a little special shout out today.
That's right. We've got some great pictures coming in from the staffers. This is our set technical director, actor Avi Greenberger with his dad, Martin.
All right, and writer Connie Harcourt sharing her family Christmas card tradition, this one featuring selfies of her. Awesome, and her siblings Vince, Lucy, and Eddie there.
You know, we do a lot of these diners, right? I go out with two producers. One of them's Matt Leach, the other one, Sam Honig. So Sam and I have become very, very good friends. Here she is with her dad, Ken, Mom, Sue, and sister AJ. Sam, you've been awesome this year to me, and I wish you and your family the best.
They look quite dashing. And here is senior producer Kelly O'Neill with her husband Pat and their daughter Ella. That is a beautiful Christmas card there.
And this is producer Megyn McDonald celebrating with her parents, Anna and Richard, her sisters Amanda and Mallory, brother-in-law Chris, and nephews Logan and Griffin. Fantastic name.
And associate producer Alyssa Madruga with her parents, Matt and Kelly, and her sister Loriana.
And check out these guys. I think you know them. That's Ainsley Earhardt's daughter, Hayden, decorating cookies for Santa. And then getting to meet Santa.
Oh, boy.
It's a big day. It's a big day.
Awesome stuff.
Very, very exciting. And thank you for all the hard work of our producers. Now it is gift time. Who's ready? Are you ready?
Stuff. Yeah, I can't wait.
All right, I'm going to start this off. Now, I was the Secret Santa, and I had Molly.
Yay.
So, Molly.
Thank you. And I had Grit.
Look at that.
Isn't that crazy? I didn't know about the tie.
Very exciting. All right, so are we opening these now?
You guys are so old. Rip them open. Get in there.
Okay, you go.
You gotta be like kids.
Wait, hold on. What do we got?
Get out of town.
Yankees. Awesome. Since you're a Boston person, there happened to be a second gift, just in case.
Oh my goodness.
If you don't want that one, I'll take it.
Oh, man.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
Now we're cooking.
Oh, this is so...
Oh, for
you,
this is totally going to fit me.
And your daughter. So now
matching. This
you're gonna
is
match.
awesome.
And you guys can celebrate by burning that Yankees jersey. Put it in the
Or Uncle
fireplace
Todd will
and
take
enjoy
it. Uncle Todd will take it.
So, all right, let me see. In the bag that's...
Speaking of surfing Santas.
How cool is that?
Speaking of surfing Santas, have you ever done the surfing
Look at the pictures.
Look at the pictures.
Look at the pictures.
Fantastic. Look at that. Hold on.
This is...
You cannot live without your own personalized...
Are those really on there?
Molly.
All right.
Those are really
put some
on there.
real work into
Hold on.
this.
We're
This
putting
is my
this on.
favorite thing I've ever
This is
seen.
going on. This is going...
Oh my goodness, do you think I could squeeze
Todd and
into
Molly
this too?
No one's
Hawaiian
going to
shirt
live up
on.
to that.
Nobody else has that, by the way. That is
No,
one
this
and
is
done.
this is a
an
collector's
original?
item right here.
Oh, you don't think that those are selling really quick
should,
somewhere?
though.
I
I like
should.
your idea. See if I can get this on. I think I can.
Now,
Race.
Klotz and I are children, so we
This is
really want to
awesome.
tear
Can I
into
wear this
ours,
for the
but
whole show?
we're waiting for a producer cue to
Like
tear into
say
ours.
that we're allowed to
This
do
is
so.
the Hawaiian shirt over the jacket
I love it.
because we
There's a lot
wanted
of
to.
effort
this
that
is a
went into
thing.
this.
This is a thing. This is, look at this. Okay, Joel's telling us to sit down, but I just want to stand up and surf. Look at that right there. I got a lot of Todd, a lot of Molly, and we're in style.
Don't forget Adam's
Adam.
right here grinning.
Adam's on here too.
Great office mate to me, and so I want you to have this.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we're roommates together, so I got you a gift as well.
Oh,
but
thank you, buddy.
This is a little different.
Sure.
I actually got us each a gift, and only this one's for you.
Okay.
But they're both for us. It's like
Okay.
a team gift.
Okay. I'm going to open
I
mine
feel like we
first.
should
I feel like
open yours.
I'm going to open this first.
Because these kind of need to be seen.
I like the one Adam got.
Around the
It's
same
really
time.
for
Open
Adam.
presents again first. How did that
Yes!
happen?
Now we can have Nerf fights in the office.
Yeah, we can. We need scissors. Joel!
This one's mine, and that one's yours.
This is good planning.
We're
This
going to
is
have
good
so much
planning.
fun in our office.
This is good
This one's for me.
Why, because
Remember
you got
that
him
alarm we
first?
used to
for you.
set
I
for
feel
your
like
brother
yours
to beat
is
him
bigger over
downstairs?
there.
Oh, we're
Let's
going to
do
have the
that
best
right here.
fights in the office.
Now, what did I get you? I thought I was getting you a office
I guess I
gift
could-
as well. Because, again,
I was just excited to open the gift I got for myself. But I guess I can.
yeah, well, I got you something for me, too. The best gift you can give is for yourself.
I can tell you, if you
This is
win that Nerf battle, Todd,
You're crazy if you think I
you're
don't
gonna
already
be quite
have one of
the
these.
Nerf warrior.
I didn't say this.
The Weatherman
I
umbrella.
wanted to get us a basket hoop, a basketball hoop.
This is the best
All right.
umbrella on the market. The Weatherman umbrella. I already have one, but you can never have too many. These are really hard to get. They can't keep them in stock.
I'll be spending the rest of the show trying to get this thing off of this packaging.
You need to defend
Will you
yourself.
loan that
It
umbrella
might be
to
too
Todd
late.
in your office while you're pelting
Yeah,
him with
seriously,
the
it's
arsenal
gonna
of
be a
Nerf
Right, that's
weaponry?
it's part of the fighting.
I feel like I'm living the
Fences.
horror that every parent is about to with trying to open up this packaging. Daddy, come on, get it
You guys going to talk about Christmas movies while I load this and murder you?
Okay, we're going to do Christmas movies now.
We are going to go Christmas movies, and I will say that my favorite Christmas movie of all time was actually on last night. And let me just first give you the top Christmas movies. We got to put this up there. The top.
America's top.
This is first A Christmas Story.
You're wrong, America.
That's a classic. That one runs all day.
Number 2, It's a Wonderful Life.
Great.
I love
of course,
that movie.
Elf. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, A Charlie Brown Christmas, Miracle on 34th Street, and Die Hard.
I always feel like that's a controversial one.
Sneaking in there.
Really?
All right, so on this list, my favorite one was on last night, right at the time, 8 o'clock, when I would be going to bed to get up for this show. So I got sucked in, stayed up a little bit too late watching at least the first part of it. And that is, well, hold on. Let me see if you can guess. Take a look at this clip.
Okay. That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clan.
Oh, who doesn't love that? I think it catches you every time.
Like you said, every time that comes on, I cry every single year.
That's it.
What about you? Mine's a classic too, of course. We can take a quick look at this. This is the stuff you had to wait for every year. You didn't get. I'll take a harsh Santa, man. He's watching you.
I'm messing around. All right.
He's got a list.
Adam and I have the same favorite movie. We share an office, and we share a love of the greatest movie in all of Christmas. Take a listen.
I've watched this every Christmas Eve for 20 years. I watched it yesterday, and I loved it. Shout out to Matt and MJ for inviting me over and letting me watch it with them.
When he does that thing with the lights, I cry every year. No,
it's inspiring.
It's a great movie, and it's funny, you know, and it just kind of takes you back to just being a kid and, you know, your dad and mom acting silly and all that good stuff, and it's a great movie.
It is a great movie, yeah. And it inspires all those folks to get, you know, out there and put Christmas lights all over their house and hope things stay nice and safe.
And put Clark Griswold on and have Nerf battles now. Can in the office.
See, I noticed he's way ahead of you getting his present open, so I think it might be too late for you once he gets the ammo.
I think we need to have, like, he's in trouble if I ever figure this out.
Joel, you're watching me here struggling. Joel never moved to get a scissor. Not once. Please email us how to take this.
Yeah, we need
that's
to
you, Joe? That's
email us too and let us know what you think of our list. Well, what's your all-time favorite? I think that it's going to clearly be It's a Wonderful Life. I think I'm just going to go with that. I think it's going to win. But it could be wrong.
Man, the kids are awake now. They're starting to rip into those presents. So vote Rudolph. Vote Rudolph.
They are. All right. Still ahead. Democrats have been resisting President Trump all year long. Is there any hope that this resistance will end in 2018? We'll debate that next.
Plus, Christmas comes early for hundreds of military families. The heartwarming reunions that will bring a tear to your eye when Fox and Friends returns here on a very special Christmas morning. Now to some quick headlines here on your Christmas morning. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake won't seek re-election next year, but the Republican is not ruling out challenging President Trump in 2020.
I don't rule anything out, but it's not in my plans. I do believe if the president is running for re-election, if he continues on the path that he's on, that's going to leave a huge swath of voters looking for something else.
Senator Flake has clashed with the president over his tweets, immigration policies, and political endorsements. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's Twitter account no longer exists, and nobody knows why. Internet Archive suggests it went dark sometime overnight with his last tweet on Friday. The original WikiLeaks account remains active, but many online are accusing Twitter of censorship. Assange has been operating the whistleblower website while in asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2012. Griff, over to you.
Thanks, Todd. All year, we've heard from Democrats calling to impeach President Trump.
His motives and his actions are contemptible, and I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45.
I rise today, Mr. Speaker, to call for the impeachment of the President of the United States of America.
The president's fitness for office is something that is being called into question. I'm very worried.
Now, one columnist of the New York Post who voted for Obama argues this sets the tone for what